saw their halls of stolen gold. Their crowns were bright, their hearts were cold. I raised my hand, I struck them down, and fire swallowed throne and crown. Now ruins lie where power stood, the earth is stained with ash and blood, yet still the oath is carved in me, a chain that binds eternally. I took an oath I can't let go, it burns inside, it's all I know. Through blood and stone my path is clear, their end has come, the time was near. Through fire, walk through rain. Every step carry loss and gain. Some turn back, some try to fight, but still I move through endless night. Shadow whispered, some grew loud, others vanished into the crowd. Yet from silence a chorus came, 1,000 sparks became a flame. 10,000 souls, I hear them call. 10,000 souls, they rise, they fall. 10,000 souls.
Go, look at that. We nearly made a seamless transition from not having any issues to having some issues to then actually going live. I've managed it. Okay. And 15 minutes early as well, which is amazing.
First time for everything.
Well, yeah. It's whether or not the chat works. So you'll have to let us know. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to episode 9, Andy.
Whoa, we got a problem.
What's the problem?
We are meant to be live. We're going live early. Can you shut up? Keep your thoughts to yourself and go to a different
Ozzy,
room.
good evening. Good evening, Ozzy.
Hello.
Did we just get told off for being live early?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We are live early this evening. Chat not working. It's coming up a little bit late. It's running late. Ryan, good evening. The chat be working. Sorry, Ozzy, the chat is working. Yes. Good evening, everyone. We are running a little bit early this evening. I've got an 8-year-old covered in chickenpox, and today's been a real challenge. So I want to get back to him. As you can see, we're joined by George. Good evening, George. How are we?
Not bad.
You might want to change his name.
Oh yeah, from Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good idea. We'll just turn that. Do you know what? There we go. There we go. We've got George with us tonight, and George runs and owns Dragon Pit Reptiles here in Leicestershire. Hashtag blame Mac 100%. Thank you very much.
They're on you already. They are on you already.
They are. So George is joined by we are joined by George, who is Dragon Pit Reptiles, and George is here in the Shire in Leicestershire. So he's about half an hour, 40 minutes away from me, in a much nicer part. Well, George's county, so it's a much nicer part of the. It is. It is much nicer. So it is. This is our first community spotlight. I had like some major plans to do. It doesn't look like Tom. No, thank you, Nicola. I had some flashy stuff to go on the screen and flash community spotlight, but just today's been the day from hell, and I've not had time to do it. So I apologise for that. But this is our official first community spotlight. So the idea on this episode is we get to shine some light on members of the community and get to know them and let the rest of the community put a face to the name, because obviously we're all used to chatting on WhatsApp and social media and Discords and Facebooks, and nobody really sees the faces. Although, George, you do run your own YouTube channel as well, don't you? Content's coming up.
Yeah, it's a bit inactive, my personal one, but just started a Leaftail podcast about Europlater specifically. It's called the Leaftail Lounge, and I'm doing it with Jack from Gecko to Culture in America. So yeah, we're trying to find guests. I'm doing English and European keepers. He's doing America, and we're going to kind of try and get everyone's kind of opinions and see where we meet in the middle. And, you know, the challenges of our colder climate and their warmer climate, and yeah, to kind of nail things down that we maybe haven't nailed yet.
Yeah, but well, I'm hoping to touch on that a little bit later on, because obviously it's quite an unconventional way of doing a podcast. So I'll be really interested to see how that's working for you. So I know you're only 4 episodes in, but it'll be nice to touch on that sort of the unconventionalness of it, of the two sides of the pond. So I'll be looking really forward to get some insights on that.
Definitely.
So I met George for the first time a couple of years back, actually, as I happened to go. Just rather randomly delivered a 90 by 90 Exo Terror to your brother-in-law at the time, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a strange scenario. And we bumped into you a couple of times locally as well at some of the local reptile stores as well, and then I speak to you online quite a bit as well. So I do kind of know George, and we collected a viv from him the other week as well, actually, from my friend Michael, who's just brought in some calotes, and we had a look around the collection. So it was really nice to see the collection, so I know what George is talking about when he talks about his collection tonight as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So
you've got quite the collection going on over there as well.
I think it's doubled since you came around as well, Mac. It's quite crazy.
I'm going to have to get back up. Well, you've been venturing into some other species as well, haven't you? So you did start off with some rare snake species, some boigas, and then you've sort of honed it in that little bit more, haven't you, to some really cool lizards. So it would be great to touch on that. So do you want to start by... So we don't want to ask people, like, tell us about your first reptile, because everyone's done that 1,000 times. But what's brought you to where you are today? So what's sort of the start and inspired Dragon Pit Reptiles will be the first question.
Good question, because I don't know how to answer it. It's kind of, I always wanted to work with animals to some kind of capacity. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist. That didn't work out, but, I ended up getting pets, everyone had a leopard gecko. I got a leopard gecko. So as I moved out, became, an adult, I bought everything back, slowly worked with it. And, as you keep, I think everyone goes through that kind of like transitional period of buying a few and figuring out what they actually like. Because you don't hit the ground running, do you? You might get a beardy, you might keep that beardy forever because it's a beardy and everyone loves a beardy. But, I've kind of figured out what I do like, and what I do like is kind of like your more nocturnal, small species, geckos, something that doesn't require masses of space. Like I used to keep lots of tree monitors. You need 6 by 6 by 2 tanks, and with me, I've moved house 4 times in the last 2 years. It's a nightmare. Nightmare moving 6 tree monitor tanks and Fiji banded iguana tanks, and so it's also like practicality of like I love working with these animals, but also if I ever need to move house, or it's not until I have like a facility, it's convenient, it's nice, and I get the most kicks from working with the smaller species anyway.
Yeah,
I guess also a lot of the stuff you've got's not widely worked with, so you've got that sense of achievement when you produce with them as well.
Every time feels like the first time. I never kind of lose that buzz of going into the incubator and kind of seeing these little geckos popping around, or coming home from work or whatever and there's some Shinisaurus swimming, like some baby shinnies or whatever it may be. It's just it doesn't get old. It's so cool.
So
it's one of the more enjoyable parts.
So you just mentioned the Shinisaurus there. So what is it you keep?
Oh, okay. So I keep Fiji banded iguanas, Shinisaurus crocodilius, so the Chinese crocodile lizards, Blue Beauty anoles, the Anolis potois. I can't. Then I keep about 7 species of Europlatus. So the Ebonawi, Fantasticus, Sicerae, Linatus, Giganticus, Alawadi, and I have some Peach Shamani on the way. I'm picking up some Borneo earless monitors, hopefully next week.
Oh yeah.
So I'm picking up 3 of, picking up 3 of those. I've got Abronia, so I've got 7 Abronia Tenata, and I've got Abronia Life Aquila, and then I've got red-lipped mountain horn dragons, and I think that's it. I say
I'll definitely be coming over to see them Borneos.
Yeah,
100%.
they're very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, the Shunisaurus and the Borneos are my holy grails.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
you got
aquatic's amazing. You really got to get into it. It's so cool.
the
Yeah,
Bronias are pretty cool as well.
The Brony is awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
so
really nice. They're personable.
the tank behind me, that's for a project that I'm sort of working my way through. I just need to get some frogs breeding, and then I'll be moving forward for that, and I'm really excited. So I'm hoping to bring in some Xenodermis javanicus, which is the dragon snakes, and they will be going in there. But I need to get some frogs breeding first, and it's not going well.
They're amazing. Those
yeah.
snakes.
So
No, not many people have succeeded with them either.
No, so it'd be awesome if you kind of nailed it.
Yeah. So you've got the Europlatus, haven't you? So what was the big shift into the Platus that from the bigger species? Sorry, what was the main deciding factor? Was it just the moving house that made you realise this, or was there some other things that made you think, do you know what, the smaller species really do it for me?
You know what? Funnily, my brother-in-law that you met when he dropped off that tank was the guy who showed me the Fantasticus, the Satanics.
Yeah.
And the first photo I ever saw was the photo on. If you type in Satanic leaf-tailed gecko, it's the one with the wings. I think everyone's probably.
Oh, where they got it's the darker sort of purpley yellow, and they photoshopped the wings onto the little
That's
thing.
it, yeah. And I went, no way, there's geckos with wings. So I did some digging. I found some for sale. They didn't have wings, but I still thought they were really cool. So I started out with just a pair of Fantasticus, and then you kind of find that species, don't you, that you enjoy. And then I got more and more and more. I mean, you find out that there's other species of the same genus that's similar but different, but the same family, and they all work really well in the same kind of climate. Some need a bit warmer, some need it colder, but like the genus is such a cool, unique, but diverse genus, and they're very rewarding to work with. I mean, they're not massively productive in terms of, captive breeding. So, they only lay 2 eggs a time, can have a couple of clutches a year, maybe 6 at most, but they're not massively prolific like most animals. But it's not about that. It's just kind of, you go around at night with a headlamp on and the red light, and they're all there doing the bit. It's really cool. And because I have been a chef basically for my whole life, I finish late. So everything with me, I start early, I finish late. I come back, the lights are off, so I come back and everything is doing stuff at night. So for me, it's very rewarding. Like my animals aren't sleeping; they're kind of about doing stuff. So I get to enjoy them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's horrible hours being a chef,
a hard-time job.
It's awful hours, awful work.
Yeah. So
I don't do it as much anymore, but still.
No, that's my professional background as well, catering. So I was in my first kitchen at 13, and then I've spent the better part of 25, 28 years in kitchens, and I can't do it anymore.
It's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah, I was part of the Leicester City team when they won the Premier League. So for the 3 years on the run up to that, I was constantly away as well, and it was just an absolute nightmare every time. Well, it wasn't. It was a great experience, but for being at home, it wasn't the best. And I was racing sled dogs as well at the time, so I was never at home. Literally, this is like where I put my head down twice a week if I was lucky. So it's
not worth it at that point.
No.
Yeah, it gets like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend more time in my van than I do my own house.
It's a shame when you look at it like that, but it's a rewarding species for that reason. So I think that's kind of why I've
makes sense.
made one room Europlatus, and it kind of works with my schedule. So.
And the room's nicely set out as well. You've got that full wall of the Europlatus and the Abronia, and it's just really nice. It's like it works because like that whole room that they require almost similar ambient temperatures, cooler temperatures, and hot temperatures as well. So it's really nice to see that there was no extra heating. You know, there weren't bulbs everywhere heating up the room. It was a really nice experience to come in and see something working so well.
No,
Well,
cheers.
obviously we're in the Midlands as well, so we don't get massive adverse weather swings either.
No.
We're quite well protected, aren't we, as well, in the terms of the weather swings. So it can work really well. I don't heat any of my room at night as well now. That was something I changed maybe 6 months ago. Everything went on to timing plugs, and no heating at night in here. And I come in the morning and it's still 19 degrees, 17 degrees. You know, it's not like it plummets massively. Not like it plummets massively at all. So can we touch like how long you've been this heavily involved with the animals as well? Because that's not massively long either, is it?
I'd say I probably got back into reptiles despite keeping them as a kid. Probably back into reptiles just over 3 years ago. So I got the bug and then I kind of ran with it, and it kept scaling and scaling and scaling quite rapidly. But I mean, as a person, I'm just very obsessive. So if I like something, I just go. I don't half-ass anything. I kind of just, oh, I like this species. I'm getting 40, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever. So that's Europlaters to me. So yeah, I'd say probably 3, maybe 4 years now back into the reptiles, and in those 3 or 4 years, it's been a ride, put it that way. But I've now finally found what I want to work with. I've like I said, I've trimmed away all the tree monitors, all of the Adatrius, like the Kimberleys and peacocks, whatever else. I keep my Fijis because everyone loves a Fiji. Everyone loves a
They are so
iguana
cool.
that just sits on you.
They are so
They're really
cool.
cool. Yeah.
They're a manageable size iguana as well.
Yeah, they don't require like a rhino. You need like a spare bedroom or something for it.
Yeah.
They're a nice handleable size and they're tame as anything. And but yeah, I feel like I finally found what I like now, and it's that more kind of cooler, temperate species.
Yeah. But you have had like some really good early success as well, haven't you? So two clutches or two broods, because it's live birth, I suppose. I don't know what's live birth of the crocodilius.
Litter.
It is a litter, is it?
It's a litter.
So you had the 2 litters of crocodilius, which is really cool. I seen the first litter when I was up there. The babies are they're next level. They are so
They're really cool, aren't
they? They are. And then you've really honed in your incubation as well for the Europlatis as well, haven't you? You've really got a really good system up and running with that.
It's because I don't use an incubator for the Europlatus. It's all just room temperature, but because it cycles with the room, I've never really had any eggs kind of go bad. I've had 2 eggs go bad, and I mean I've had well over 100 Europlatus eggs now. So out of all of that,
you're kind of winning on that one.
Yeah, the Europlatus I feel like I'm quite homed in on now. I'm playing around with I've got 2 new species I've never worked with, so I'm still figuring it out with them. But in terms of the incubation, they're quite as animals go. I think they're quite relatively easy to incubate. I think literature kind of says 90 to 120 days. I mean, I've had eggs hatch at 240, so we're talking nearly 9 months, and you kind of go, oh, these eggs are gone. And then you look and you're like, oh shit, no, they just go through like a natural diapause, which is weird.
Yeah, especially when you're not incubating them as well. So I've noticed that with the tokays.
Okay, yeah.
We go well over the 9-month mark with the tokays, really. I think our last ones were over 9 months, yeah. And it's just...
It all goes with the temperature swings.
It does, yeah.
So I mean, my hog noses, they go in the incubator, they dial in 60, 70 days later, they're hatching.
Yeah.
Because they're at a set cook temperature the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But where you've got those fluctuations, well, especially with geckos, because that's what changes the sex in a lot of them, isn't it? With the fluctuations of temperature in the incubation.
Yeah, a lot of people have that theory, like the cooler temperatures get females, warmer temperatures get males. It's definitely something I've tried to play around with. But for example, that clutch that hatched on 240, they were both males. So you kind of ask yourself, like, oh, is it just a one-off, or it's one of them? I think maybe you need to do not like one personal breeder. Someone like Bion might be able to do this, but over 1,000 eggs, what's the the ratio. It might
Yeah.
just pan out 50-50. But I don't know. It's just one of those things.
We've never sexed any of our Tokay young. They're always sold as unsexed.
Are they?
And
Yeah.
it's just because they're not a breeding project for us. They're just, it's a 1.1. They live together. They're so cool. I love them to bits. And
Yeah.
she'll switch off. She stops eating. She stops producing. I keep an eye on her. Calcium sacs, and she's fine. And then all of a sudden, I'll either find 2 babies or I'll find 2 eggs. And again, they're left in, for the most, they're left in the enclosure. Because they do not the Europlates, they lay in the substrate. Is that right? At leaf level, level.
Under leaf litter. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Tokays, they'll glue them to the canopy and stuff. So for the most part, they're left in there.
Got you.
But I've never sexed them, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, again, it's supposed to be slower and longer for males and hotter and quicker for the females, but there'll be much more experienced people out there than me that will be able to confirm that. But that is the theory. You are right.
It is, yeah. I mean, even when I had monitors, I mean, last year I think we had 40 Kimberley Rock monitor babies throughout the year, so quite a lot.
Yeah.
Even with the monitors, I would incubate lower. So I think people would recommend 28.5 or 83 Fahrenheit. I think mine was about 80 Fahrenheit. It went about 25 days longer, but the babies would come out much stronger. They would eat quicker. I think anything that, personally, and this could be a crock of shit, but personally, I think a little bit cooler always kind of makes the animals a little bit more robust and a bit more just ready to kind of get into life a bit better. I think like if it's too warm, it kind of speeds up the process and they're a little bit exhausted.
Yeah.
A bit cooler, I feel like they get time to kind of get their stuff, get everything together, and kind of a bit more meat on them before they come out. And even with the Europlatus, I mean, you can incubate Fantasticus at 19, 20 degrees, but if you do it at 16 degrees, like I do, it might come out 140 days, but they do come out nearly twice the size.
Yeah.
Do you find they use more of the yolk up as well if they go full term? Or they use play them out either way?
Yeah, so I mean, I found with the yolk in terms of monitors, I mean, they kind of a little bit cooler, they kind of do soak it all up, whereas a bit warmer, I think they just come out a bit skinnier, whether they leave some of the, the yolk or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. With the Europlatus, there's no yolk or anything left inside. It's just a hollow egg at the end. So I feel like with the Europlatus, maybe just give them a bit longer, and then maybe it develops a bit more, and maybe to get a bit more robust. I'm not too sure of the science behind it, but I have found through personal experience, longer and slower always is like more robust, bigger animals.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a theory that you can get behind. It's a theory you can get behind, isn't it? Like you've seen the first
we
hand.
always go off. Yeah. We go off the incubation temperatures for everything that we're given from the books, from the experts, from the scientists. But the reality is, what they incubate out in the wild will chop and change and move around. Exactly. I mean, I put a probe under the sand on my scorpion tail geckos.
Okay.
The hottest part of the day, you're talking 34 to 36 degrees under the sand.
Yeah.
And then at night, it was dropping down to 18.
Yeah, wow.
Sand. So there's that fluctuation that people don't do with the incubation all the time as well. A day and night temperature, we give the animals in, but reality is a lot of the eggs will be experiencing a day and night temperature as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's healthy for most animals though, isn't it? That fluctuation, whether it's animals or eggs itself, but it's not, like you said, it's natural. Like a lot of people, like the Shinisaurus I keep, you have to put them into brumation really to kind of get them going for the next season. Same with Abronia, you kind of have to get them really cold and they kind of go into like a natural sleep. So I've put all my Shinisaurus down yesterday. And yeah, they're probably normally sitting at 18-20 ambient, but they're going to get down to like 12-10 for at least 2 or 3 months, no food, and just let them sleep basically. And then they come out fighting. So if using the somewhat similar logic, I mean, I can imagine the eggs are probably somewhat similar.
No, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of people get quite funny about lower temperatures, especially with the exotic animals, but Reality is that's what they deal with.
Well, yeah,
Just because we're used to, I mean, I used to be in a dragon, for example. You keep it at say 40 odd degrees on the basking spot, 30 high 30s for your ambient, and then you've got obviously down to sort of 24. But the reality is that's not 12 months of the year.
no, no.
What they have some months is going to be could be even close to twice that with how hot it can get. And the other months half that.
Yeah, I think people like Lee Warren have done like good field studies of when he went to Indonesia. Don't quote me on this. I saw it about 6 months ago on Facebook. Went to Indonesia and left a probe in the substrate, like just in substrate, overnight over a 24-hour period, and the fluctuation was quite minute. So in Indonesia, it's a bit warmer, but let's say, but there's always that kind of debate, isn't there? Like what you're talking about, of how much fluctuation there actually is.
Yeah.
And then you hear anecdotal stories of Canadian cold blood, saying he found Kimberley eggs in some soil he was chucking out, left it in a garage overnight, and it got to like 5 degrees. And then he popped it back in the incubator, and it hatched. And they incubate at 28, so there's this 20 odd degrees difference for
And it
days
still
at a
made
time,
it.
and it still made it. So it's
Yeah.
like nature's not perfect, is it? So I think these animals, they're used like evolutionary, they're used to it, aren't they? Logically.
Everything's a lot more robust and hardy than people give it credit for.
Well, yeah, I think everyone's just worried about doing something detrimental to their animals, which is commendable. Everyone wants to do the best, but at the same time, I don't think it's the make or break.
But sometimes by doing the best, you can almost be making it worse.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're always, and this is something we touched on before. We touched on briefly with Tom. You've got the antis, so to speak, the activists, who are always looking for a reason to knock it. So everyone's always so concerned that what they do could create bad press for the hobby.
Yeah.
That they're not willing to take the risks that sometimes will benefit and produce better for the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So in the short time that you've been really hitting it hard, have you had any? I know we've had some. We're not going to talk about your personal life, but like within the hobby and the animals, have you found any obstacles that you've had to coming in, swinging so hard, having that early success with the animals as well? Have you had any sort of pushback? Have you had any walls that you've had to sort of climb and?
Yeah, I think I mean, I've had a good few years, and the trend keeps kind of, it's still going well, which is great, obviously, for captive breeding side of things, and also for the animal's sake and everything. It's all really good, but I think when you come into something so new, and I say so new, but you have a new kid on the block, let's say, and something's going well, and there's the old timers who've been doing it for a while, and people don't like it, do they? Let's be honest. Some people are really welcoming.
Gatekeeping.
It is gatekeeping. A lot of people. So gatekeeping, that word within the Europlater scene is hilarious because it's the most gate kept species I've ever worked with, and I've worked with a fair few in the years I've been doing it. And people go on about how difficult Europlaters are. I mean, Andy, you said you kept a couple. I mean, what did you find?
Once they were in their enclosure and I got everything set up, you throw the food in, you give them a bit of moisture, and they thrived.
Exactly. They're really.
As long as you've got the UV there, you know what your temperatures need to be. You don't need to really give them additional heating.
No.
So where I had them set up, they were on top of one of my incubators. So the tank was sitting probably 22 to 24 daytimes. And then would drop to probably about 16 to 18 at night because it was in the hallway.
Yeah.
And it had live plants. It had a clean-up crew. We sprayed it sometimes twice a day, sometimes once a day, because I'm very much with the attitude that everyone says, I'll spray it this many times, spray it that many times. It doesn't work like that in the wild. And if these are wild-caught animals, you need to try and mix it up to keep them interested and keep them entertained, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know from the egg a routine.
No, of course not. No.
They'd hunt, and you sit there and you throw the food in, and they'd wake up out of nowhere and just hunt. Then they'd eat and they'd go back.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said for the majority of Europlaters, they're as easy as keeping a Cresty instead of Pangea using live food. They're really, really easy. As long as you go into it with an open mind and correct parameters, anyone can keep Europlaters. If your room's too warm, put it somewhere cooler. If you don't, and all I would say is if you ever get into any Euro players, buy an aircon unit first because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, 2 years ago with the heat wave, that was 40 degrees and I had over 60 geckos, like Euro players. If I didn't have an aircon, they would all have been dead. So you need just small safety nets, you know, and an aircon you can get one for 200 quid off Amazon. So if you
Yeah.
can spend £1,000+ on a pair, you can afford 200 quid for an aircon. And it's just kind of having that, you know, everyone
It's
loves
spending
getting
the
good
money the
animals.
right way.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
yeah,
the other thing I found with them was interesting is like for the Fantasticus,
yeah.
from what I was reading, I never really went too much of this, but like January, February, they're looking at only maybe 2 or 3 hours daylight compared to what they have, say, August, where it's 14 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like doing small things like changing the photo period really kind of stunts the productivity of them, gives the females a lot of time to rest and regenerate for that breeding season. You know, it's a lot less humid, it's a lot less light, it's a bit cooler, and it's I think just that standard practice a lot across all animals is something that I think people are slowly kind of getting a bit more clued upon. And like we were saying with the natural cycles of egg incubation and things like that, like my Shinisaurus dropped 2 litters on the wrong side of the year. Really, they meant to brumate, and when they wake up, they drop babies. Mine dropped prior to brumation, so it's kind of, but that's the captive kind of like cycling of like people who had them before me, maybe a bit too warm consistently. It needs to kind of naturally cool. Um, but I think that's just good for most animals, like in terms of breeding, putting weight back on, stop, you know, all of this. It just really benefits, and I think people are kind of getting a bit more better with that now.
Yeah. No, it's
We
quite a big thing. It's quite important to make sure that you pay more attention to what the animal needs. And it's something we touched on briefly with Jordan of JSL Chameleon back on one of our earlier episodes, that a lot of people need to start using the weather reports that are available for the areas to get the care requirements better for these animals,
Yeah,
because month by month it changes. And you look at the new thermostats coming out, you have that season set up in them that you can add in.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a bit of a headache at first, but just set it up and you never have to do it again.
No, exactly.
we control all our lights for all our lizards via Amazon Alexa, and
Oh, nice.
everything comes on in stages. So the main lights switch on an hour after sunrise, so they get that natural light that's come in the room, starts waking things up. Then the lights come on. An hour after that, the UVB comes on. An hour after that, the heat light comes on. And that's a brand new approach that I've took this last 16, 18 months that I've done that with. And Amazon Alexa is really cool because you can dial in to the seconds as well. So all my misting systems are run on Alexa as well. So they come on, it switches on. You tell it to wait for however many seconds or minutes you want, and then switch it off. All my humidifiers, and again, it's that seasonal adjustment and controlling it at that level. I think it makes a massive difference just in behaviours.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you get more out your animals.
When we got the tree frogs behind me, they were calling constantly calling.
Really.
And it wasn't until then when the winter months kicked in and that light level dropped and the temperature dropped that they've then shut up. So it'll be interesting to see come spring, summer, whether that then kicks them up again. But and that's something that I've picked up recently as well. So I think you are right that people are moving around to that mentality of moving with seasonal adjustments as well as the circadian rhythm of the animals as well. Before
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
12 hours on, 12 hours off. All on at once,
Yeah,
all off at once.
yeah. I think that's like the old school way of doing things, isn't it? I think originally, I think a lot of people before my time, it was more trying to keep the animal alive, and now I think we've now figured out how to do that, and now it's kind of like improving. Therefore, everything's like a learning day, isn't it? And everyone just keeps getting better and better, and that's why things like this podcast are really good to people reach out, talk amongst themselves, and not gatekeep, and make overall experiences better.
Yeah,
But something we want to move on with what we're doing at some point is put a series. I've sort of nicknamed it Care for Thought at the moment, just because we're not experts. What I know about a species is what I've learned. I've not worked with them in the wild. I've not gone as far as to study them, but we want to do sort of getting people with a species, for example, say the Fantasticus. This is what the care guides say. This is what the people who are keeping them say. Start thinking about what you're reading and what you can improve.
Yeah.
More than this is how you keep them. You have them in this size. You have them on that substrate. You have them with that light. Go, well, that's sort of what people are suggesting, but really think about how you're keeping them.
Tom really highlighted that last week, didn't he, when it comes to the gargoyles? You know,
Yeah.
the standard care guide for there is to keep them like cresties, and he says that they couldn't be further apart in terms of New Caledonia. You know, the cresties are in the trees, and he said that the gargs, they're pretty much in the scrub. He says they're in tall grasses. You know, they're not floor level, but they're also not canopy height as well. And he says, and it's amazing the changes you see seasonally as well. See, I think he's done 2 expeditions out to New Caledonia. It's a really interesting guy to talk to.
I can imagine.
You mentioned,
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. So you've congratulated on the podcast and said how valuable it is. So thank you for that. But that's a really nice segue into your podcast. So I know we touched on it earlier. So it's a really unconventional method to running a podcast where there are 2 of you involved, isn't there? So there's yourself and who's the gentleman from the States?
His name's Jack. He runs the Instagram page Gecko to Culture.
Okay.
So he works for M.A.D and he kind of does all their social media side of it. Everyone knows M.A.D. So yeah, he keeps basically the predominantly Europlaters. He keeps up a little bits like frogs and or what else, but his main kind of focus is Europlaters.
That's cool. So I watched the first episode yesterday, so I knew what I was talking about. So
someone was prepared.
Yes, well, I didn't know about it. It was actually hats off to Andy here. Andy sent it me and he went, "You might want to give this a watch." I was like, "Oh my god, I had no idea." So yeah, so I watched the first episode yesterday to get a feel for it, and I really like it because you're gonna give that, and this is what Jordan wants to do as well with the chameleons. That the care guides will be give or take the same, but there are going to be certain nuances which apply to the States that apply to the US, especially when it comes to species which may be temperamental to those nuances. Like the way you keep your room might not be how Jack keeps his room, because it's completely different ecological conditions around us. So I thought it was a really interesting way to run a podcast. So am I right in saying that over the space of the month, you're going to interview someone, Jack's going to interview someone, and then you're going to get together and then sort of, again, like Andy's just said, thought for care, have that sort of breakdown, touch base, how things going, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is I'll interview someone from the UK or Europe once a month. Jack will do it, in the States once a month, and then once a month we'll actually meet up together, maybe with a third guest, and kind of have another chat and discuss what's happened in that month between ourselves, and just an all-round catch-up. Like you said, a care guide is great to kind of have the fundamental idea of how to keep an animal, but a care guide, if I gave Jack a care guide who's never kept a Fantasticus and gave me one who never kept a Fantasticus, same care guide, I'm in the UK, he's in the States, his room is going to be too warm, so he's going to have an aircon unit on all the time, which is going to make it drier. Whereas mine's going to be probably too cold, so I don't need it on, so I'm going to have to add heating, which is again going to make it drier. Or, there's all these, like you said, small nuances. So it's good to kind of get an idea of how everyone keeps them. Kind of achieve the same thing, but, how people have tackled that hurdle.
Whether it's using, I guess, humidifiers, dehumidifiers, aircon, heating, whatever's required, whether they use, like, I guess with yours, whether you use individual lighting compared to a radiator for the room to bring the ambient temperature of the room up, or just each tank. Yeah, exactly. And there's all those little bits and pieces that get overlooked. Because if you've got one gecko, say you had Fantasticus, just because it's the one I can pronounce the easiest out of all those bloody species, and you've got them set up and it's your only reptile, you can put a heat mat on that and you can control the heat with that heat mat on the back of the tank.
Yeah.
But like yourself, who's got loads of them, that's not cost effective and that's not practical.
No.
And it's the little things like that that also get overlooked. Especially when you're looking at care guides. If you've got a reptile room, you can set your ambient temperature in your reptile room. I keep everything in my lounge, my hallway, my daughter's bedroom, you know, and we have to sort of monitor the house. So there's a lot of other things to take into account there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a bit of a struggle to getting guests on because there is quite a niche area, let's say. But no, I'm looking forward to it. We've got a few people lined up for this month and next. So as long as that kind of trajectory carries on, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
So I've just shared the YouTube channel in the chat there.
Thank you.
And I think the name is Pocker. So it's the Leaf Tail Lounge. It is. It's amazing.
I'm surprised no one had taken that before.
Yeah, it's not my idea. That was all Jack. I can't take any credit for that.
Yeah. So make sure you drop over to the Leaf Tail Lounge YouTube channel. Drop them a follow, subscribe.
Cheers. Thank you.
Leave a comment, like, all that good stuff. Show support.
Are we subscribed to it yet, Mac, or do I need to go and do that for you?
No, we are subscribed. We are subscribed.
Okay.
We are well, we are now.
We weren't, but we are. He's like, oh crap, we are, but we're not.
So I must have
on my phone actually.
I must have subscribed yesterday on my account because I was listening to it on the phone when I was making dinner. So obviously I'm not signed into M.A.D Exotics. But no, it's good to see more content coming out of the UK as well. So one thing that we have had a lot of praise for is there is a huge niche within the UK online content that isn't it's not gatekept, and there's no hidden agendas about it. It's just about putting yourself out there, the right information from the right people, and having a good honest conversation. And one of the things that we have had quite a lot of praise for being able to do that. So I'm really happy that there's something else there that we can sort of ping ideas back and forward for as well, which is really cool.
We'll bring the Leaf Tail down, John, when we want to do anything on the care thought stuff regarding anything Leaf Tail.
Yeah, no, exactly. That'd be awesome. That'd be really good.
It'd be really good to start collabing with other people. I guess like we've been doing with this, with having you on with interviews and stuff. But the more everyone does with each other, the bigger presence it puts out for the hobby. So an audience you might have on the Leaf Tail Lounge, an audience we might have through M.A.D Exotics, might not cross paths. But by doing stuff together, like having you on with this, or like I said, with the care for thought, that brings more of a view into things and gets more people interested and excited to what's coming.
Yeah, no, definitely.
People, sorry, George, on you go.
I was just going to say, an exposure is good exposure, really, isn't it?
Of course it is.
In terms, yeah.
People are consuming content differently as well now. People are sitting down to watch YouTube series as long as it's the right information. You know, and we are, regardless of whether yours being species specific or not, it's still reptile related. And people who are involved in reptiles tend to be interested in all reptiles, regardless of their forte, their niche or whatever. So it's, you know, the more exposure that we can give the UK is going to inspire that next generation as well. And that's what's massively important.
Exactly. And it's a bit off-putting when you find a species that you're quite passionate about before keeping one, trying to find a care sheet or a general idea, and you just can't find it. And then you're scrambling because you're trying to find it and get everything set up. And then there might be a small nuance that has happened to your animal, which might be natural, normal behavior. But if you don't know, and there's nothing online, and there's no one keeping them, you are scared, but you might do something then which is actually detrimental to the animal. Yeah. So the more we speak about these small, you know, niche animals and just spreading the word, the more people do this, then I think the better.
So you are heavily into the Europlites. How many species was it again?
7 right now.
7. That's incredible. You know, there's people out there who have different 7 different species, and then you've got so it's clear that that's where your passions lie in, and that's the route you're taking. So that's really cool to see. And then
Yeah.
outside of the Europlatis, you've got 3. You got the Abronias, did you say?
Yeah, a couple of species of Abronia,
Yeah.
crocodile lizards, Fijis, some anoles, the blue beauties. Um, I mean, some mountain horn dragons and a few other bits.
Nice.
So they're all kind of, if you look at Nealis monitors now, they're all kind of very temperate animals, apart from the Nealis monitors and the Fijis, but and
Yeah.
the blue beauties, but they're in a separate room again.
Yeah.
So everything that's kind of temperate is upstairs. Everything that's kind of warmer downstairs. You would think that's the wrong way to do it, but my house is freezing upstairs and warmer downstairs, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to kind of stick away from warm species now. But the ones I have, I mean, I don't want to ever sell my Fijis, and the blue beauties are cool. I always wanted some. They're a bit more readily available now than they were a year ago.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty cool animals. I mean, how many times do you see a blue lizard?
No.
It's quite uncommon.
No. It's the same
so-
as the browns that are hitting the market as well. The reds at the moment, they are so cool.
Sagria or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, they're really cool.
They're just normal brown and old, but they're red, and they're so cool, so cool.
I think anoles are going to start taking off a bit, to be honest. I mean, you've got people like Herptime over on the other side of the pond,
Yeah.
and he works with just anoles, and then I think people are kind of going towards that smaller, cooler species. I think that whole kind of phase of getting retics and stuff like that is kind of dwindling, personally, from my outside looking in.
I can't remember who I was watching the other day, and like, they turned around and said, everyone's wanting all these big lizards, these big geckos and everything. Said, but people are forgetting, and it was the anoles he went to. He's like, look at the green anole, 20. It must have been an American, because it was like a $20 animal, readily available. It's bright green, bright red dewlap. It's massively active during the day, and they interact with each other. What more could you want? And it's like, I think we forget about that, because they are so... They can be quite drab, but they're also on the other end of the spectrum. So we've got the bearded and the barbatus, and she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She's just this. She's sort of what, cresty size, a little bit smaller, but she just looks like a dinosaur. She's big, solid blockhead for crushing the snails, and God, they can move. For what you look at,
super fast.
Yeah. And jump as well. They are not scared. They are not scared. No. Amazing animals, so they are. But yeah, I wouldn't. If I had the space, and I know we all say this, if I had the space, I'd have something else. But anoles are definitely something that I would like. I could easily fall into. Easily fall into them. There's so many species across the board as well that aren't touched.
Shed loads. Yeah, exactly. Shed loads. I think people like Anolis UK, which I believe is Dave Armitage. He's got some amazing stuff. And I think they are just slowly becoming more popular.
Is that working?
Yeah, I've got you now, Andy.
Yeah.
But hey, I managed to knock my mic out. No. Just quickly before we go any further, how many species of Europlatis are there?
I think there's about 16, 12 of which are probably readily available. I say readily available, 12 of which you might be able to get your hands on.
Is your aim to get all of them?
Not necessarily, but I wouldn't say no. I mean, I think out of the 7 I have, I believe there's 5 left. I mean, the ones that are left are quite elusive, and you don't really see them. I mean, one of the ones I don't have is Europlatis fiera, which is a larger version of Eb.09. So Eb.09 is a spear leaf-tailed gecko.
Yep.
Fiera is it's just double the size. So it's essentially keeping the same animal, it's just twice the size. I mean, I can get them, but yeah, I feel like I don't want to, as much as it would be amazing to have as many of the species, and I probably will get there one day in a few years, because I know what I'm like. But I feel like right now, for me, my goal is to kind of have multiple bloodlines of each species. So I don't want to just be bottlenecked into having one pair of this, one pair of that, and then all of those babies are related, and then I'm not doing anything for the hobby. I'm not really helping captivity because I can't sell
No.
related baby pairs because they won't be able to breed. And if they were to breed, the babies come out really badly. There's no like inbreeding that works well within Europlatus. Um, oh, I think the cameras have gone off.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Matt, what have we done?
Sorry,
There we go.
Oh, we're back. What did you do?
I'm trying to log in to my account to get the sponsor blurb, and
Yeah, it's
I've
because
just
you're going to put that out, haven't you?
but I don't know where it's gone.
But no, as much as anyway, trying to keep it short. Without, I would like to get all of the 12, but I'd rather have 4 pairs or 6 or 10 pairs of one animal species like Fantasticus, and then being able to offer multiple different unrelated bloodlines. So then,
But also, it means you can mix back across, and you've always got unrelated bloodlines of your own going on.
exactly. I mean, like, my holdbacks aren't, they're actually useful towards bettering the bloodlines. And, I've got animals coming from Bion in March. So I've bought another 6 pairs of Fantasticus, for example. So that's another 12. But I've not just bought Fantasticus, I've bought multiple species of Europlaters, but 6 Fantasticus to just help my current bloodlines. So I just think it's really important.
Do you keep them individually or paired up or in trios or?
Paired. So I've tried trios, but pure again going back to the bloodlines, I really don't want to mix anything up. Or if I was to sell you a pair of Fants or whatever, I really don't want to give you any kind of blood that may be crossed. So
I guess
pairs.
with trios, you don't know which eggs come from which female, and
No. I mean you can if you're very vigilant, but it depends. I mean, if you lift up a leaf one day and there's 4 eggs, you don't know whose is whose. Whereas
No.
if they were 2 weeks apart and you were looking for the bellies, and yeah, you. But again, it's like what's worth the risk? I'd rather just have this tank is this bloodline, this tank is this bloodline. I don't have to use my brain that way as well.
that's a better way of doing it.
I think so.
Yeah, we can all live with that.
I can move pairs on with confidence, saying that they're unrelated that way. So.
And that's better for yourself, for the hobby, for the customer, for everything.
Everyone's happy, aren't they? I mean, if that customer then breeds those animals a year down the line, those babies aren't going to be deformed, and no one's going to have a bad day because they're going to have to euthanize an animal.
That's never a fun day.
It takes what the joy of the hobby is about. You want to open that incubator and see babies that are happy, ready to start kicking. You don't want to, oh fuck, it's missing an arm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, no. I had a clutch last year of hog noses, and all but one came out deformed. Wow. And what I put it down to, I pulled the clutch late. I didn't realise she'd laid them, and the eggs are heavily, heavily dehydrated before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I put them in, hydrated them back up, incubated them, but in reality, I think I left it too late before they were any good. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It can happen, can't it? I mean, I found a pair of Varanus Affenbergi, so peacock monitor eggs. I went on holiday. I went to Iceland and I came back, and I knew the female was gravid, but flight was booked months before she even took.
There's nothing you can do about that.
No. So I got back, and lo and behold, there was 12 eggs at the bottom of the lay bin. Every single one was shrunken, caved in on itself, and I thought they were gone. Incubated them, and all 12 popped out, thankfully healthy. Every single one.
You just don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know, but if it went another 2 days, then yeah, it could be a different story. We don't know, do we?
No, exactly, and it's unfortunately a risk we take.
Yeah.
But I've now learned that if I see an egg at that state, realistically, it's not worth putting it in the incubator.
Got you, okay.
I think that's the difference with species as well, though. I think...
Yeah.
Whereas... And I see that from having the lizards and having the snakes as well. We didn't check on the chameleon eggs. We've got them downstairs in one of these little tiny incubators that just sits on the side. And we didn't think about it. So just before Christmas, we're moving the room around to make space for the missus's forest that she imports from wherever she gets a tree from. And we put the incubator down on the ground next to the radiator. Never even occurred to us. And then the wife went and she's like, we've got a problem with the chameleon eggs. I was like, all right, what's up? Went down and it just got too hot, so the substrate had dried out. And she's like, what do I do? I was like, well, go through them. Anything that is definitely gone, put to the side. Anything that you think salvageable, rehydrate the boxes, put them back in the incubator and leave it. She's been dead diligent over the last couple of weeks, just checking them. And do you know what? Out of the 40 eggs, we lost 10. Everything else has been spot on.
Wow.
So it was, the first 10 were from the first clutch at the highest left-hand side next to the heat source. So it's understandable why they were so bad. But literally rehydrated the soil. And like you, Andy, I know for a fact, had that have been a clubrid egg, especially from the hotter species, or it would have been a royal egg, they would have been gone. They would have been a write-off. So it definitely species dependent on how they handle things like that. And don't forget as well, with the lizard eggs, they tend to incubate over a much longer period of time, whereas the snake eggs are a much shorter period of time as well. So it's like when anything goes bad for the snakes, that's really detrimental because they've got this whole life being produced in this time scale. So that could be quite a serious point.
It's an instant effect.
Yeah, whereas the geckos, their eggs are incubating for a much longer period, or any lizards mainly, they're incubating for a much longer period of time. So that default in your setup probably might not have an effect.
Yeah, exactly. And it, like you said, it's interesting you mentioned the smaller time frame between snake eggs and monitor eggs, for example. In my case, I mean, snakes hatch out about, depending on species, but 60 to 80 days.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But
these monitors popped out in 155, and I found the eggs probably 2 days after they were laid, deflated, but within 2 weeks of, over a sim container with sphagnum moss, damp sphagnum moss on each egg, within 2 weeks they were like golf balls again. Not golf balls, but, they were inflated again. And
they were probably inflated.
But then it's only 2 weeks, like you said, that 2 weeks over the whole 155 is only like just shy of 10%. Whereas if that was that would have been over a quarter of the incubation for snake. And like you said, it's when you look at it like that, that's a massive, massive part of it.
Yeah.
It's basically, excuse the analogy, but someone pull it out in front of you with a car, someone pull it out with 10 feet to go, someone pull it out with 100 feet to go.
Yeah, exactly.
The reaction to what will happen is a lot quicker.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
And again, we could be talking a load of crap here, couldn't we? But we've got three.
Some experts watching this laughing, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like, they could be further from
or
the
they're
truth.
sitting there making notes, going, you know what? Maybe we should look into this. These guys are onto something.
Either we are really onto something, or we are talking a load of piss. Either way,
or both. We could be doing both at the same time.
Either way, it's an interesting thought or conversation. And if nothing else, it sparks conversation, then we've done something right. So
which is what we want to, like we said, with this whole care for thought thing, that's what the whole aim is. Absolutely. Not to tell someone how to do it, but to get people to think about how they're going to do it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the main thing. Like I said, no gatekeeping and making everyone's opinion kind of welcome and not shutting someone down because it may be wrong or right.
Oh, I've made so many mistakes over the years.
Oh, God, yeah.
That, you know what? It's how you do them.
Was that episode 2, Andy?
Which one? The mistake episode?
Mistakes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's something we'll touch on again later on once we're a bit more established and doing it more. But everyone screws up. Everyone gets something wrong. And 90% of people try and pretend it never happened. Because they're afraid of how everyone else is going to react to them. Mm-hmm. Because your mistakes killed an animal or your mistakes deformed an animal. But if I don't make that mistake, as harsh as this is on the animal, how's everyone else going to learn not to make the same mistake? By my one mistake that might injure one animal, I could, in theory, save 10,000 down the line.
Yeah.
By being honest about what went wrong. Whereas if I keep it quiet and don't say anything, someone else can make the same mistake and go, oh, I'll keep that quiet. Then the next person, oh, I'll keep it quiet. And then you've got no one learning.
Absolutely.
It's not a nice thought to have to go through all that. But like we just say with the Euplatus, people have had to learn they're a cool species.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of where they come from, there's going to be people who have gone, oh, I'll keep them like this. And they've not thrived. And by doing that, they've learned how to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, even some people still get them now with all the wealth of knowledge we're at our fingertips, even with AI and things like that. I mean, people still get it wrong. You know, I mean, group chats and people are identify species incorrectly, and they're looking after them wrong. And you know, sometimes the dimorphism between one species and the next is quite obvious. So again, the knowledge just needs to be there readily for people to be able to look at it. And whether it's podcast or someone makes an app where you type in the species and someone certifies a care guide on it or something like that, which is a good idea.
They just know how to make an app and how to certify something.
Does anyone know how to make an app? Because I think we're on to something again.
We're going to take over the world.
Somebody sat there like that. These three are doing my face in.
Probably my missus. She's not in the room at the moment.
That's it. No, mine's is downstairs. I've been thoroughly warned that I need to not take anything else on. So she's
the database, yeah. Nicholas mentioned, although the database is something that I am slowly putting into place.
Okay.
And I will touch base with you at some point, George, because it's an area you might be interested in.
Okay.
It's basically a spreadsheet at the moment. I mean, I'm getting prompts here on what to say about my own thing currently in the chat. Sure. But the idea is it's to cover, over time, people to input species. And then the Latin names, the previous names, where they come from, the temperatures, what their natural habitat is, the area of habitat they cover. Because this is something we touched on as well. You look at a corn snake, the area of America they come from, the possible habitats for them vary so much.
Yes.
And all that sort of stuff, and get that all into a database where someone can type in what they're looking at, and it'll bring up that animal and every temperature variation throughout months, high and low for, say, January, February, March, April, May, so on, the incubation temperatures, what the animals feed on in the wild. Because, okay, we feed everything frozen thawed, snake-wise, for example. But in the wild, a lot of these species live off lizards, amphibians, fish, you know.
Yeah.
All that stuff needs to be taken into account. And yes, okay, feeding frozen thawed mice is a lot more, what's the word for it? Accepted than chucking in a group of lizards in with your snake.
Oh, 100%. You'd get crucified if you talked about it, probably, wouldn't you?
But the reality is, a lot of these species, the diets, we're not always getting them right.
No, exactly. I mean, the Boiga that I did have, I've moved them all now, but I did have a pair, well, I actually had two pairs of Boiga Tanajampia, so the cat snake, and yeah, they just wouldn't eat. They would not eat for the love of my money. At least one out of the four. Three of them were starting to smash it and they were doing well. One was just an arse. I went through an array of feeders. He eventually took frog legs. I was very close to buying an anole. But I asked everyone I knew, do you have any dead crested geckos in your freezer? No one had any, no gog, nothing, and I was just but thankfully he took a frog's legs. But like you said, I mean, we feed crickets, locusts, mealworms. Like, you ask me, what's the difference? My opinion.
A life's a life at the end of the day. You can't give something a higher status because it's something else. It's an argument of, not an argument, it's a conversation I've been having for quite a while when it comes up.
It's almost a conversation as old as rats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one that
100%.
you're never going to win because no one will ever be on board 100% either way.
No, I agree.
But at the end of the day, if you've got a Weimar python, perfect example, they're a lizard-eating species. They go into the burrows and they have things in the burrows. They don't coil them; they squish them against the sidewall.
Oh, really?
That's how they hunt. They don't wrap the same.
Got you.
But at the end of the day, we
Liam's
have to work with what we've got.
Liam's just said frog legs for the Boiger. He started all of his on them and then moved them onto chicks.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what ended up happening with the male. He did take frog legs, but it was, when I acquired them, they were in the country for 9 months, and they were eating mice and whatever else pups. But eventually, he just as soon as I acquired him, I don't know it. You know what it's like with some animals. You just get that small disturbance,
Yeah.
and they're just like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm done.
He was disturbed, and he just did not want to eat. And even when I tried to force feed, it just regurged, and I just thought, he's just not having this, is he?
I had a hog nose that did that.
Really?
Every time you get it halfway down the neck, and
Yeah.
it still bring it back up.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But in the end, they took a frog leg, and it was kind of one of them, just drop fed, and he took it in a nanosecond. It's like he knew. But yeah,
He was just playing wind up.
He was. But I mean, we didn't eat for like 3 months.
But we get wound up over that. But a lot of these animals can go a long time without food.
Oh yeah, yeah. He had good body weight to him still. It didn't really look like he hadn't eaten. It was surprising because obviously I think I kept them individually because I didn't end up pairing any of them. I moved them on before I even paired them. I kept them all in a 90, 60, 45 and 90 tall because they're arboreal. And yeah, he had a nice temperature gradient. He had all sorts to get away, do what he wanted, but just didn't want to eat, didn't want to do anything. But he kept his weight.
It's crazy the way they are with it. But again, you get back on those as well with royals and their hunger strikes.
Yeah, so one of the things I've noticed is my first breeding season was the males. Like, I had a male that went off food, and I worried so much. Like, I really worried. And I was asking everyone for advice, this, that, and the other. I was getting all this advice. And then it was like the start of the next season after he was eating again. I was going through my book and I was looking at my notes. And I think over the space of like 9 months from that last feed to his next feed, he lost like 30 grams. There was literally no weight loss at all. And it was...
That's a large mouse.
Yeah.
In weight. That's a large mouse in weight.
You know, yeah. he didn't... I don't worry as much if it's a male. 100% don't worry as much now, especially during sort of the sort of August, September time through to sort of February, March, April, maybe even a little bit later on. I tend not to worry if it's and again, you know, there's loads of different things, like people say the 1,000-gram walls for the females, but you know, I've been, touch wood, quite lucky. I've not had many go off food.
That's good.
I've had a couple of colubrids that stop for eating when they're ready to breed. But once they're paired, they'll now start eating again.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, the male needs to get his rocks off in order for him to want to have a meal.
Yeah, that is a trick that's commonly advised or used or said within the royals as well, that, you know, not just for the males, for the females as well, if they stop eating, you know, and you are planning on pairing them, if you're not planning on pairing them, don't do it. No, we're not telling anybody here just to go start pairing animals for the sake of it. But if you
what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, but if you have a pairing planned, by all means, try that first introduction to see if you can switch them on.
Yeah.
And, you know, people report good success with it. Switches them on, that's it, they're smashing food. I think this season I had 2 animals that we had to assist feed. One of them, she needed assist feeding twice, and I literally put a defrosted frozen rat in its mouth, and she ate. Like, literally, I didn't have to do nothing much. And then the other one, she switched on like 3-4 weeks ago. I'm so happy. So happy.
I've got 7 at the moment. I'm having to assist on the baby hognoses. And they once it's past the sort of jawline, they're happy.
I've just
Yeah.
seen Valentine
Until
Swain.
it's boss.
I've just seen Valentine Swain come in there asking what we think about gargoyle geckos. So we are considering the thought for care or care
Care
for
for
thought guide.
thought.
I think we're probably going to start with gargoyles, and it's Tom
Cool.
from last week. So Valentine, if you haven't seen last week's episode, definitely go and watch it because it's with Tom from the Exotics Keeper, who has done 2 expeditions to New Caledonia, and he touches on the gargoyle geckos. They are something I'm considering adding to the collection because of how they are actually kept, or how they could be kept to their natural
Oh, wait,
setup.
is Steph come running in and smack you around the side of the head now?
No, I'm all right at the minute. She's downstairs. Well, she's not downstairs, but I don't think she's heard, so I'm okay. No, she has heard.
I think gargoyles are slept on. I think they're really
Yeah.
cool. I think
I love a gargoyle. I do,
Yeah.
but I don't want to get into arboreal lizards at the moment.
well, they're the
I-
best.
Hang on
They
a minute. Have you
are.
not just picked up some tokays?
No, I've got a tokay by accident that I'm looking to move on, actually. If anyone wants a tokay, I have a tokay looking for a home. Male, CB24, tail end, good size. Anyone wants it, just give me a message.
Mad. So what's next for Dragon Pit? You got any short term and long term goals? Obviously, super short. We've got the Borneos,
Yeah, super short the Borneos. I'm very excited for them.
super jealous of.
Yeah,
What
I
have
mean,
you got,
they're
what have
really
you got
cool.
coming in 3?
Trio. Yeah. Yeah, so
They are beautiful, those earless lizards. They are absolutely beautiful.
yeah, I can't wait. Like most people, you've kind of got those holy grail animals. Everyone's got a different list, but mine has been earless have been on there for a while. I mean, probably 2 years at least.
You just don't
since I
ever
kinda got
see
into
them.
monitors. But that's the thing. I think as much as I'm excited and I can't wait to get them, I think the Shinisaurus are still going to have the win because they're always out. They're always doing stuff. The Borneos, I think they're just going to hide. But to be honest, I'm not too bothered. Just to have them and an excuse for another semi-aquatic tank, I can't wait.
That's
To be
what
fair,
does
the
it.
shinies
That's what does it for me.
are fantastic.
Yeah, same.
I love the shape of the shinny's face as well.
Yeah,
That just
yeah.
stout, stock end of just terror, but also so cute.
Yeah, I posted a photo today actually on Instagram of a 0.5 zoom photo of the shinies on my Instagram, and if you actually just look at their scalation and stuff, they're so prehistoric, so prehistoric, and they're
I
so
think
cool.
they trump the caiman lizards for
I think so,
coolness as well.
There's only one other species of lizard that would probably blow the shinies and the Borneos out the water, and it's the crocodile tegus.
Crocodile tegus are pretty cool. There's a
Yeah.
couple coming in the country.
Is there?
2 months.
Who's bringing them in?
House of Venom, I know, is bringing a couple in.
Is he?
Ah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And where are they going to your collection? Are they?
absolutely not.
Crocodilius
Yeah, very cool,
Amazonicus, very very cool. They are like, yeah, that would be like the Holy Trinity. It would be.
You reckon?
I would. Yeah, if I could have 3 tanks in a house like this,
Yep.
big zoo level kind of enclosures, and like the paludarium style, those would be the 3. Those would be the 3.
Yeah,
The
They're very
Shinisaurus,
cool
the Borneos,
croctegus.
and the croctegus. Those 3, all sort of next to each other, because they're all very similar in setups as well. That would be,
it'd be awesome.
yeah.
It would be awesome. I don't think anyone really has any croctegus in the country yet, do they?
I've not come across any.
2 months. 2 months is someone will
2 months.
apparently.
They're not going to be cheap.
No, they are not. Well, I think they were $15,000
Yeah.
last time I
Yeah.
looked at them, and I haven't looked at them for a couple of years, so I don't know whether that's gone up or down based on
It'll go up
captive or-
over here, let's be honest, because everything will be more expensive imported.
Yeah,
Something we touched on briefly on Bruce's episodes, wasn't it?
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, most things. There's not a lot of cool stuff here compared to like the States sometimes. So the prices just seem a bit ludicrous.
They are.
Um,
They are.
but no, it's definitely like you said, it's definitely a holy grail animal. But the Borneos, I'll take them for now. They're pretty
Yeah.
cool. You'll have to come over and see them because I'm getting them
Oh,
in a
mate,
week.
100%. Once they're in and they're settled for a month or two, I will definitely 100%
Yeah.
be up to see them.
I've already
Between
seen them
2.5 and 13,000 for a crocodile tegu,
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
depending on whether they're wild caught or captive bred.
I'm telling you now, you are not getting one for 2.5.
No,
No.
no.
So super
2.5
short.
for a single in the States.
So super short
okay.
terms. We've got the Borneos, and then sort of short to mid. What's on the cards?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this year started. I mean, without getting too personal, me and my partner, we used to do this, but she's now my ex, so it's now just me. So I'm excited to kind of just see what this year brings. New,
We're not
new
starting a
animal.
dating site.
I mean, maybe, but I may already have a new girlfriend. But
As long as what you want is someone who's into the bit with you.
exactly, yeah. So, but in terms of calling the shots and everything, let's say it's just me now. So I'm looking forward to kind of midterm getting this year underway, getting some eggs in the incubator, and just seeing what the Europlaters room, how it cycles, because obviously it's a new house as well and
Yeah.
new parameters. Long term, I mean, really, I just want to keep. I'd like to get a bit more on the social scene. I've been slacking a lot recently, but I really kind of want to get the YouTube channel going, the podcast going, and kind of get it out there. And eventually, like long term, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to just work with animals full time. Like, I think a lot
Yeah,
of people
agreed.
that do this, it would be amazing to do this full time. And I don't mean a shop. I mean, kind of I mean, everyone I think probably aspires. I mean, if you were to close your eyes and picture like a dream job, if you were to do something on the same level of like Bar Check, not necessarily with the millions and millions of subscribers and stuff, but if you could just day to day work with animals and show people around,
Have the
educate
zoo.
people, have the zoo basically. If you could
Yeah.
get to that level, you could die a happy person.
There's one for
It's not a
sale in
monetary
Wales.
thing, there is there?
There's one for
What's
sale
that?
in Wales, a zoo.
Well, that's been for sale for ages. That's
Yeah,
been
but
for
all-
sale
It's like
for
a zoo.
ages. Oh, you've got a few
Yes.
Europlaters you can move on to afford it.
Well, and then open an empty zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to start somewhere.
Got the building, but nothing to show for it.
To be
I
fair,
like
least-
all you got to
at
do
le-
is
at-
watch.
At least after the
Yeah, there
first
you go,
visit, they
Toko,
will see
perfect.
improvement. At least after the first visit, they'll see improvements.
Talking of a zoo, worth watching is that Matt Damon film, We Bought a Zoo,
Okay.
based on a true story of a guy who bought a zoo on a whim with his kids and turned it round.
Awesome. I'll have to give that a watch.
It's a good feel good, and it's also got Scarlett Johansson in it.
The truth is coming out
Perfect.
now, Andy.
I can't get into my online storage, so I'm gonna have to wing this bit. So we are proudly sponsored by the Reptile Keeper, a online web-based app for bettering your husbandry. It monitors everything, including your stock level of feeder animals, which is incredible. I also want to say thanks to Faunalux, who are an affiliate of ours, and any of the links below. We do get some small kickback at no cost to you if you do use them, but you can get yourself 10% off the discount below. And we did see Kat in the messages earlier, who was one of our very first winners of a 35 watt?
No, 30 watt.
The 30 watt True Chroma LED UVA spotlight bulbs, lamp. So congratulations to Kat. Final thoughts, George, before we wrap up. You got any final thoughts for us?
Not particularly.
No.
Have you got any questions or anyone in the chat?
Yeah.
No.
Come
So
on,
whilst we're waiting for anything in the chat, where can people find you, George, other than the Leaf Tail Lounge, which I still love? It's a
So
great
yeah, there's the
name.
Leaf Tail Lounge podcast with myself and Jack. We've got my personal YouTube channel, which is Dragon Pit Reptiles, which has been a bit inactive, but it will, I promise, in the next month or so, get some videos on there. And then my Instagram and Facebook is Dragon Pit Reptiles. The Instagram's Dragon Pit _reptiles.
How did Dragon Pit come about as a name then?
Game of Thrones fan. Keep dragons in a pit. I thought it was quite cool.
No, that makes sense.
Probably one drunken night, and I just thought, yeah, that sounds good.
No, that's fair. I mean, because we've got the critters den,
Yeah,
me and my partner.
that's good.
But I didn't want to limit it because the minute you
Yeah, of
put
course.
the snake den or the reptile den or the this, you limit yourself to what you're working with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the critters opens us up to everything.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's
Oh.
good. Sorry, carry on.
Andy's in trouble because Nicola's having a conversation with herself.
Oh, yeah. That's never
good.
good.
No. I've just shared your Instagram there, George. Thank you very much for this evening and coming on, spending some time with us. And thank you,
Thank you
for
for
being
having me.
our first community spotlight.
Yeah, cheers. It's been a good laugh. Thank you.
First of
Yeah.
many.
It's been nice. I feel like I'm rushing to go, but I've got a little boy who's really upset and really itchy, so I need to go rescue him.
That's
Totally.
fair
No
enough.
problem. Understandable.
Everyone in chat, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we will see you next week with Andy. Who have we got next week?
Jordan from Peculiar Pets. I got it right this time.
Jordan from Peculiar Pets. So Jordan will be our first shop guest as well. And we're hoping to touch on a few things with him, so tune in for the next one next week. So for me and Andy and George, thank you all very much, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Oats in stockings.
It's out.
Peace.
No, that's for the